Okay, back for round two. Looks like a good print. I still have no clue why the lettering didn't go over into the middle here. I have to check back on my STL file / on Tinkercad why maybe that didn't combine into a group and make that impression, but it's not really important right now. So let's see. Maybe I didn't. There we go. Let's do this one not on the build plate this time. Not sure what that was all about. Looks good. Feels solid. Let's do a little bit of edge fill mark real quick. Nothing fancy. Still not sure that I like that this will be the visible side that was on the build plate, but this definitely is not the final product. Right. And what, I don't think I mentioned this last time, there's no real purpose to this. I thought this was just a good idea, that something that will help me learn prototyping and design and how to use CAD software. I know that Tinkercad is a little bit different than, you know, their Fusion 360 or AutoCAD, or any of those other CAD softwares that could be comparable. I like Tinkercad a lot. While it is a little bit more simplistic, I think it's very powerful, more specifically as an education tool. And I like that it has the blocks coding and it has the circuitry things, because I'm going to try and start learning more stuff about Arduinos and stuff like that. I did buy the 30 Days Lost in Space from Inventor.io back when it was Inventor.io. Can't remember the name of it now, but when they were switching from Inventor to their new name, it's Creative Grade or something like that. I'll put the actual name of it. I got their sort of transitioning name sale. I wouldn't say going out of business, because they didn't go out of business. They just changed their name and broadened their scope. And I've had the 30 Days Lost in Space just sitting right over there on my desk for a very long time, and I definitely want to get to it. And I figure Tinkercad could be very useful once I learn some basic Arduino skills using that, and then maybe when I want to do some more RGB lighting on my entire life, you know, the skills I learn there using their electronics could also work to help me become a bigger nerd than I already am and have the stereotypical RGB lighting. Alright, so let's see. We have our top cover and our bottom cover. Let's see if I made these wide enough. It was all kind of guesswork on the remodel, just my assumptions. That went in very nicely. Fits quite well. I'm hoping that I can be somewhat proficient using Tinkercad for prototyping, and then maybe venture into something in the near future like Fusion 360. I know there's a whole bunch of other softwares that you can use to try prototyping. I am noticing now, looking at this, that my soldering has this a little bit raised on the front end here. I think they might all be a little bit raised. The solder definitely went through from one side to the other. I guess I can see all 6 of these are pretty flat compared to the other pins. I must have been holding down the back, or maybe I was probably pushing down like this. That retracted the top row, but that's a very minor thing. I'm not too concerned about that right now. Plus I get a second one that I can try and do a better job at next time around. I don't know if I like that this is going to be covered on the sides and I'm only going to see the front. But I do like how the sliders are kind of the only things exposed. I guess I could cut out these slots here and have them fall between these so the whole silver top there is exposed. But for the most part, this looks pretty good. I don't know if I made it deep enough, especially with the soldered pins on the underside. I think that's going to be my downfall on this one. We'll see in just a second. Okay. Well, it all fits. I think I just need to make this a little bit deeper. Which that's an easy fix. Because this gives a little bit of space here. Yeah, let's do this. Let's put this inside here. Can it even do that? I guess I didn't think about that part. So I made this ridge is going to work better for sure. It's a little bit higher. I'm going to test that in a second. But I didn't think that this whole, the white PCB here is going to have to sit inside of the frame that I made. So this, essentially I got to move this inner rail to where the outer one is and then make a slightly wider outer one, or just get rid of the rail and figure out a different way to have the top and bottom attached to one another. I don't know how I guess I didn't catch that on the last one because it was so thin I could just bend it. But it does look pretty good for the most part, other than being a little too shallow. I think maybe I could lower down the sides so it rests where it says color space and just this gap between the micro USB input and the LED. So this is a little bit more, sits a little bit more prominent or proud from the top there. But that is a pretty good fit. Not too bad for the day's work. Let's see if I actually made this correctly. And these will lock in together. Moment of truth.
You can't handle the truth!
Oh yeah. Ooh, satisfying click. That's actually quite nice in terms of how that connected. Just a pure friction fit. Drop test. No drop. That's pretty good. Yeah. So, let's see, where's the camera here? The USB opening is good. I think I'll lower the top down a little bit, and then when I extend this down a little bit to make it deeper, it'll sit just fine. Probably gonna only drop it down by about, see, the board I think is about 1 millimeter thick. .91 thick. So if I have this here, I drop it down 0.91, so I'll probably drop it down 2, maybe 2.5 just to be safe for the pins. Or no, I'll drop it down 2. And then once I fix this, the depth in there will make up for where the pins can go. Not too shabby. I think it's a fairly simple fix for the next round of prototyping. The Mark III. Tony Stark would be proud.
I am Iron Man.
I don't know how I didn't think that would be the exact size because of that rail, but overall, I'm happy with the friction fit. The friction fit, satisfying click. Right, there we go. And that is a nice little case that I can use this for in the future. Cool. If you have any recommendations for how I could remodel this to better fit this, right? Maybe if I get rid of this entire lip around here, yeah, that wouldn't matter too much. But I want to print it this way so this face looks a little bit nicer. I do want to get a build plate that it has a pattern on it. That would be nice to have some sort of like the carbon fiber pattern or something like that on there. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how that round 2 came out. And maybe I'll work on a remodel tomorrow to see where we end up from there. So not bad. Alright, stay tuned and hope you learned along with me, because this is my first time doing something like this, and just keep on trucking and eventually you'll get it. So yeah, see you next time.